I'm here to tell you you'll never hurt another person.
Tough talk from someone flying around with a 60-year-old heart.
Oh, it worked just fine the last time you were in Smallville. How's your eye?
We're partners. You can't just make these kinds of...
I can do whatever I want! I am in control, not you!
Are you ready to die for me one more time?
Alright, what is going on guys? It's Tazz here, and welcome back to the channel. This week, Superman and Lois aired their penultimate episode for not just the season, but the series as a whole. Episode 9 of Superman and Lois's final season, properly titled To Live and Die Again, follows on perfectly from last week's chaos and sets the stage for the end of the series with next week's finale. In the aftermath of Lois and Lex's public debate, public opinion is starting to sway in Lex's favor, which forces Lois to take more drastic measures in her quest to put a stop to the relentless businessman. Clark is reeling with the reality that he's starting to lose his powers and what that will mean for his family going forward, placing a lot of responsibility onto John and Jordan as they may soon be the last line of defense between the world and the looming threat. Lex Luthor is moving into the final phase of his plan, now fully embracing his darkness, armed with John Henry's steel suit, with no signs of remorse for what he's done or about to do. This week gave a couple of pretty big reveals, Easter eggs, and character returns I was not expecting, letting the audience know we really are nearing the end. So with that said, spoilers for the final season of Superman and Lois up through the 9th and penultimate episode, but with that out of the way, let's fly ourselves right into this episode breakdown. This week picks up fairly quickly after Lex and Lois's debate, wasting no time in addressing the fallout. Now that Luthor, with the help of Milton Fine aka Brainiac, is in possession of John Henry's steel suit, he not only learned about Superman's diminishing powers, but publicized it to the world. Lex has continually played these mind games with both Lois and Clark all season long, and now that he believes he has the upper hand, Luthor is not holding back anymore. While John and Jordan are very gung-ho about wanting to take the fight to Lex, Clark and Lois know that the more delicate approach is necessary. Amanda pays Lois a visit at the Gazette to gloat about the outcome of the debate and serve her a lawsuit along with a bill, while Lois makes sure to warn Amanda about what her boss is capable of. All of Lois's leads seem to wind up dead or a dead end sadly, so with the help of Clark, she remembers what she would tell herself to do once she's hit a wall like this. Retrace your steps and go back to the beginning. Those steps bring us back to Stryker's Island prison, where she visits the big bad of last season, that of course being Bruno Mannheim. I was not expecting to see him back, so that was a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. Not only did we get a very beautiful, somewhat reconciliation between the two of them, but Bruno also played a vital role in Lois's next steps to combat Lex Luthor. Bruno was genuinely happy that Lois had completed her cancer treatments and that the doctors of Hobbs Bay made it all possible. The two reminisce about Pia and how she played such a pivotal role in helping Lois complete her treatments. While the reunion was beautiful to see, Lois is also here on business, and that business is to find a way to put Lex back in prison for good with the truth from a man who made it all possible off of a lie 17 years ago. Bruno gives Lois one more important piece of the puzzle to start the collapse of Lex's empire, and that is the similarity drawn between what is currently going on with Amanda and what he did to Cheryl in the past. It was also nice to see Bruno happy that Superman was back, but noting that there's still work to do. That work, of course, includes Clark confronting Lex in his office, not only showing that he's not afraid, but trying to give Luthor a taste of his own medicine with a few mind games. throwing out a couple of hilarious digs that you wouldn't necessarily expect to hear come from Superman. Clark openly exposes that he knows Amanda has been the true mastermind behind Lex's new look and everything that transpired during the debate. Tough talk for a man with a 60-year-old heart. It worked just fine the last time you were in Smallville. Clark tells Lex to enjoy his freedom while it lasts and leaves him with a final compliment of his tie, sparking Lex to rip it off in rage after Superman has flown off. Flying back over to Smallville, John and Jordan struggle with the immediate threat that Lex Luthor poses and the fact that their father is no longer strong enough to face that threat alone. I thought the menu items in the diner named after the Super Kent family, along with all of the merch, was a fun little touch. Of course, a small-town diner would do this if they found out that Superman and his family lived there. Clark brings the boys to the fortress to train for the battle ahead, setting up a simulated version of John Henry's steel suit that is now in Lex's possession. Unfortunately, the Super Sons are far from ready to take on someone with the strength and speed of a peak-powered Superman. Clark could barely defend against the steel suit when he was at full strength, and now that his powers are growing weaker each day, Clark is going to need all of the help he can get. Once the boys fly home, Clark asks his mother the tough question of when will the boys be strong enough? Unfortunately, the nature of John and Jordan being half Kryptonian means that they will never be as strong as Clark once was on his own. However, after a conversation with Lois, Clark realizes that he's been looking at things all wrong. Instead of focusing on what the boys can't do, he needs to play into their strengths. Over on the Luthor side of the coin, he continues the facade of the well-put-together businessman, just wanting to create a better future for himself and the company. He gives Amanda a massive promotion, giving her the most Luthor Corps shares of all board members, aside from himself, of course. While this might be a point in Amanda's win column, Lois, after her meeting with Bruno, pays her a visit to once again plant the seeds of doubt in her mind about Luthor and what his true intentions might be. And those true intentions are revealed when Lex goes to pay Milton a visit as he's putting the finishing touches on his modified steel turned Lexosuit. Multiple internal upgrades plus the addition of kryptonite lining and weaponry will make this upgraded suit even more formidable in Lex's fight against the Man of Steel. Here in Milton's makeshift lab, we get to see one of the coolest Easter eggs of the episode, as it appears that he has the bottled city of Kandor just chilling on his desk like a Funko Pop. A perfect reference to the brainiac side of this genius scientist that sadly we will never get to see fully come into fruition on this series. With Milton's help, however, Lex is able to find the location of an old friend thanks to a file named Project Doomsday hidden within the suit who can aid him in his fight against Superman. While Lex goes on to find his greatest weapon, we get a very nice family bonding moment and a training scene between Clark and the boys. Thanks to Lois's advice, Clark is now leaning into Jordan and Jonathan's strength, which is the fact that they have each other. Back when Clark was first training to become Superman, he was alone, but now with the power of the two Superboys on the same page, they could be just as powerful, if not more powerful, than one lone Superman. Amanda tries to intercept Lex before he can unleash Doomsday, but she's too late. Just as Lois had warned her, Lex has gone off the deep end. As retaliation against the town of Smallville for turning their backs on him, Luthor is going to make everyone suffer, using Doomsday as the catalyst. Lex tells Amanda that he is the one in control here, not her, and that is the evil mastermind Lex Luthor that I think everyone has been waiting all season for. He gets into his Lexosuit and flies into the mines to bring Doomsday back into the fight. I loved the little touch of the last shreds of Bizarro Superman left inside Doomsday trying to do everything he could to get back to his world, but it's too late. As all this is happening, Clark and the boys hear the screams of the creature and spring into action. Superman goes to the mines to investigate while John and Jordan have the job of protecting the citizens of Smallville. Lex tells Clark that he's just finishing what he started. Are you ready to die for me one last time? Lex starts the process of killing Doomsday again to try and evolve him into his final form. Here we go again, but now with a full-fledged, comic-accurate final boss-looking version of Doomsday, absolute design and CGI perfection. The fight immediately moves from the mines out onto the main streets of Smallville as Clark is in for the fight of his life, now with even more at stake than the first time. While Superman defends the town from Doomsday, Jordan and Jonathan make some saves of their own. Jordan got an amazing hero moment, helping the owner of the diner through a panic attack, bringing all of his struggles from throughout the series full circle as he's able to use his experiences to help someone else face a similar hardship. Jonathan also makes a nice save, catching a car before it can smash into the convenience store. Amanda actually seeks out Lois's help and tells her that she was right about Lex and the fact that he was just going to cast her to the side and go completely off the rails. All the while, Lex watches the chaos from above, telling Milton that he wants to see Doomsday kill Superman with his own eyes this time around. Clark is getting beaten and battered just like the end of last season. He takes one last look at Lois and the boys. I love all of you, and Doomsday swoops in and drags him away to end the episode. So many theories from the penultimate episode heading into next week's finale. With Doomsday back, Clark will have to somehow find a way to defeat him, take his body and heart to the fortress, and get a quick heart swap power-up before fighting Lex. The other idea I've seen thrown around is chucking Doomsday into the sun, since he's from Bizarro World and the yellow solar radiation would not only be his weakness, but a way for Clark to power up like he has in the past. However, would this heal his heart as well? Clark looks fully healed in the trailer for the finale as well, so there's got to be something massive that happens to power him up between the Doomsday and Lex fights. Some people have been throwing around the All-Star Superman-styled sun power-up, which could leave him powerless after his fight with Lex, but honestly, I wouldn't be too happy with that. Lex Luthor is completely unhinged, and there's no redeeming him at this point. He wants to destroy Smallville and kill both Clark and Lois. There's realistically only one way this can all end, with Luthor back behind bars. And the way I think that is going to happen is thanks to Amanda. It seems like she will fully flip on Lex and help Lois testify against him and corroborate all of his criminal activity. But I do think Amanda will kind of get what she wants in the end as well, by becoming the new head of Luthor Corps after Lex is sent back to prison. I'm also hoping for an open-ended place to leave Milton, as he's really just been Lex's guy in the chair. We saw the bottled city of Kandor on his desk, so he's done some Brainiac stuff in the past. Maybe we'll get a tease as if the show were going to be continuing. Brainiac would be an incredible villain for Season 5 if it were to happen. Overall, guys, while you could certainly say this episode seemed a bit rushed, that does not detract from the incredible setup for the series finale. Clark is the weakest he's ever been as Superman, facing his strongest opponent yet, a fully realized version of Doomsday, complete with the classic look, really playing into the title of To Live and Die Again. Not to mention Lex Luthor in a kryptonite-powered Lexosuit that was created by Brainiac of all people. I'm hoping for a mostly happy ending. Lex goes back to prison, Amanda heads Luthor Corps, Brainiac lives to bottle another city in the future, but most importantly, Clark is back to full strength, or even better, thanks to Doomsday's supercharged heart or the supercharge of the sun. John and Jordan have a clear path as the Super Sons, knowing they are stronger together, complete with the super suits, of course, as well, since we haven't seen them yet, so I'd assume they'll be in a little end stinger. Lois will continue to use the power of the press to not only fight for truth and justice, exposing the evil in the world like Lex Luthor, but shine light on the good and hopeful aspects as well, Superman and his Super Sons, along with the other heroes who have stepped up to fight for a better tomorrow, just like Clark with John Henry and Natalie Irons, Steel, and Starlight. It seems like we might also get a flash forward somewhere in the finale to build on the possible open ending to the series and give fans a bit of an idea of where this world goes in the future. As the finale is rightfully titled, it went by so fast. I'm not ready for the series to be over, but I do find comfort in knowing the show, while ending prematurely, is still going out on its own terms. It's the end of an era for DC TV and the Arrowverse, both adjacent and proper, and I couldn't be any more excited to see how it all wraps up. But with that said, guys, just let me know your thoughts on everything Superman and Lois Season 4 before next week's series finale. Do you think Clark's abilities will return to full strength? How are we going to defeat both Doomsday and Lex Luthor? And what small teases for the future would you like to see from this finale? Just let me know your thoughts on all of this down there in the comments below. But until next time, guys, it's been Tazz. And I will see you guys in the next video.